So we were talking about, we have a discussion where, we were talking about amateurs and professionals, okay? I've trained more professionals than amateurs, so I might have a biased opinion, but for me, when we talk about comparing an elite amateur to an elite professional, it's really not a conversation because it's an elite professional to an elite amateur, right? It's the same thing in any sports across the world, whether it's baseball, football, basketball. There's you have a league.
Let them know the question. The question was who's
So the question is who has it harder?
Right.
Elite amateurs or an elite pro, right? For me, in my opinion, some people might say an elite amateur, right? But for me, it's like I told Chino when we were talking about it, I said, I don't know, is chess and checkers the same? And your response was,
no, of course not.
No, it's not. So to me, that's how professional and amateur is. There's chess and there's checkers. And coming in along the lines of what you're saying is somebody just is in the hospital battling their life right now from getting hit.
No, I think he's out the hospital now.
So, but then one just died.
Man.
One just died right before that.
Yeah.
So going into that, what I'm saying is, as a professional, when you're in 8 ounces or 10 ounces or 12 ounces, the padding's different than an amateur, right? But here's the thing. There's no redos as a professional. When you get in there and you have to adjust in an 8, 10, or 12 round fight, you have to think and adjust with somebody that's playing chess, right? You can't just go on the board and move a bunch of pieces and think you're going to get the same outcome, right? Now, as an amateur, you have 3 rounds, 3 minutes outside of having to make the weight, right? You got to make weight every day. But we know how y'all the young kids are. They're not eating correctly. They're not on a nutrition. They're not staying in shape. When you get into a camp as a professional, you got to get on. You got to be eating correctly.
Right. That's what the dedication.
The dedication. And not for nothing, as an amateur, you could get ready for the tournament as a diet type thing, right? But as a professional, it's 365. There is no let me take it easy or let me take a break. When we have pro fighters, it's you get in there an 8-week training camp, and especially at the lower.
Let me ask a question, right? Don't the amateurs fight more than the professionals per year?
Yeah, but at the same time,
we're only speaking elite amateurs. This has nothing with the novice and the.
I mean, it all depends. I mean, does every elite amateur go to the Pan Games? Does every elite amateur go national, international? Does every elite?
Yeah, but
we know the elites stay in.
Listen, we still get from the amateurs. We still get all these tournaments around the country.
Correct.
And there's multiple.
Correct.
So again, that's why I say most professional fighters, if they're giving us 3 fights a year.
But you're talking. But if we're talking about elite,
I'm saying
you're talking about 12-round fights.
No, you're understandable, Joe. Yes.
12-round fights where, if let's just say you're anywhere from 118 to 152, I believe it's 8-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody that has experienced an 8-ounce glove and getting hit, it's a different feeling. Okay. And having to figure out what somebody's doing inside of a round and then realize I figured out what he's doing, now let me go adjust to it. And then all of a sudden another adjustment's made and now I adjust and now he adjusts. It's a constant chess game in a 12-round fight, right? The amount of hits you take to a body, the amount of shots you take to the head, the amount of jabs, and just the hard work mentally for camp. Think about that, from getting up every morning to training in your morning workout, right? Let's just go over how most pros are training. They get up, they go do their runs in the morning, right? Take a little break, then they get back in the gym for a weight session if they have weights, right? Boom, take another break, eat, rehydrate, back up. Now you're back in the gym again for boxing in the evening. You're talking about 3 times a day, right?
No, listen.
So the mindset, to me, in my opinion, is, and listen to what I'm saying, so I don't want the amateurs to kill me out here, but there's a difference between a professional and an amateur. At the elite stage, we can't talk about totality because guess what? There's taxi cab drivers in boxing and there's taxi cab drivers in amateur. We can't compare them because
Well,
we have those in both sports.
that's why I stated elite. You know, again,
There's no comparison because here's the reality. You don't ever hear anybody say, I want to be an amateur.
Listen, you and Willie the Kid the other day, shout out to Willie the Kid for Fight Game.
Shout out to Willie.
You know, when you guys was talking the other day, you know, y'all both, you know, it was you guys was right on point.
Yeah, because at first he thought amateur until I said elite to elite. Then he was like, nah, you're right. If we're comparing elite to elite, there's no comparison.
No, right.
Because of what a professional fighter has to go through mentally. As a child, you still don't have the responsibility of taking care of a family or doing all these things that professionals have to do and still train, right? Just an example. I'll use one of my pros right now. You know, we're working on getting better mentally, right? Because when you get in here, there are no redos. As a professional, as an amateur, you know, I can lose today and come back tomorrow, and yeah, I might be mad, but I still got another shot to go back to the tournament.
Right. Because you start back to zero.
I can start back to zero, right?
Right, correct.
But as a professional, the mental aspect, that shit's just different, you know. And everybody, yeah, let's just say it like this: everybody can be a professional, right? Everybody can be an amateur, but there's levels to an amateur, and there's levels to a professional. But there's a difference between amateur and professional just because the words carry the weight.
You sitting there talking, I just remember I jumped in the ring one time as a professional.
Yeah,
my nose ended up on the other side of my face.
Man.
That was the end of that.
Look, and then when you talk about, now there's very good amateurs. Look, I've had amateurs beat up on my professionals, right? But that's in a 4-round get-around.
Right.
When you start going to that 6,
No,
8, 10,
when
you start saying, okay, I'm warmed up, let's go to work. Oh, no, we good, right? So I'm not taking away or discrediting any top elite amateur or coaches or their programs. Listen, amateurs work hard, especially at that elite level. They got to make the weight. But at the same time, look, we've all been, for most guys, we've all been elite athletes. You know, coming up, that's what I did. I played sports. So I know you eat whatever the hell you want and you're going to make the weight, right? And most kids, because the amateurs that I've had is, all right, we got to cut the weight a week out. Obviously,
guys like that. Listen, I'll sit there and watch. I know a couple of guys like that that'll just sit there.
They can make it fast.
These guys go to weight. They go to make weight. They ain't even cut.
But now as a professional, that shit's different, bro.
Yeah, no,
you're training. You're taking care of a machine. You know what I mean? And think about it. The kids that are in the elite tournaments, okay, you got to make it for that time frame, right? But for the most part, when you're building your career as a professional, you're fighting 4 to 5 times a year.
Listen, right? It's just, I think at the end of the day, it's all about the different types of discipline that they got to go through. You know, again, you know, most guys, you know, let's be real, most professionals, you know, have to work a regular job.
Most BC.
Well, listen,
BCD level fighters.
When you say elite boxers, probably got about 2
handfuls. It's a handful, right?
About 2 handfuls.
But that's why they're elite.
No, correct.
And then the same thing with the elite amateurs. Top 10, you're knowing like, hey, these guys are some dogs. You know what I mean? Hey, man, I might get a bye in that first round, but boy, whoever I fight in that second bracket, boy, they coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't know who you're fighting. And I understand that point. You don't know who you're fighting, right? But what's harder to fight? A guy that's studying you for 8 weeks? Or sometimes the fight might be at the elite stage, shit, they're only fighting 2 times a year, right? So figure how long your training camp. Every pro stays in the gym nonstop, right? We don't, just because we're not fighting, we stay in the gym. But now, when we know we got a fight coming up, now we gear up to training camp, which is different, right? Your sparring is going to be different. How many rounds you're doing is going to be different. Because why? Because the punishment you're taking from sparring with another elite competition is different.
Don't step up in that ring if you can't bang. I got a left and a right for your mama.